Hey guys, it's Yolanta from Soullight Space. I'm astrologer and tarot reader, and in this video I would like to talk about Saturn in Pisces transit that starts in March 2023, and it's gonna stay with us for 3 years. So let's talk about what we can expect out of this energy in the world and individually in our chart. I will show you what you can do to understand better where and how this energy can play out in your life. And we're gonna talk also about the big picture of the whole scenario for this transit going on, because this is just one of many chapters of the book called Life. And I would like us all also to see a little bit wider the perspective of things that are happening for us as humanity. So let's start. First of all, this is the last month. I'm talking about February because I'm recording this exactly 1 month before March 7th, when we're gonna have Saturn in Pisces ingress. So this is the last month of Saturn being in Aquarius. We had this transit since March 2020, and that means that this is the final processing of this lesson. Aquarius was about free flow of information. Aquarius rules higher mind, thinking individually, having your own perspective, and also this is the sign of freedom. And Saturn restricts, brings limitation, makes things smaller, shrinks them. So you can observe what happened in the world since March 2020. That was exactly this moment when, at least in Europe, we had first lockdowns and the whole world was kind of like blocked. Even the aviation, flights, airports, everything was not working, and also Aquarius rules those matters. You know, flying, you can think about free bird kind of energy when you think about Aquarius, being free, you know, flying wherever you want, and also expanding your mind, consciousness. Aquarius talks about this higher consciousness, awakening. So those things were under this control and restriction of Saturn since that date that I mentioned. I think it's a very interesting karmic lesson for all of us. We can all see what happened in the internet since that time, what happened with the free thinking, with censorship, and also how governments, because Saturn rules system, government, politicians, how this side of life kind of like influenced our freedom, what happened, regulations, limitations, rules. This is all Saturn. In Aquarius, Aquarius is also humanity, society, us as people, all that you can treat as a humanity, basically. This was restricted. So that means we people, we were restricted in our thinking, in what we could also share in the internet, because this also started to be controlled. I experienced that myself with some sort of shadow ban. Whenever I would speak in the internet about things that are not comfortable for certain big people, I would also be kind of like censored, you know, shadow banned and stuff. So, well, I hope that all of us noticed what is truly going on in this world, and we also learned the lesson of Saturn being in Aquarius, especially now as Pluto also is entering Aquarius for the next 20 years in March. But let's go back to Saturn in Pisces. This is the new transit. So that means also that Aquarius energy and fixed sign energy, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, those signs will now have a little bit of rest from Saturnian pressure, because you guys, I'm not only talking about Sun, zodiac sign, but I'm talking about any single placement planet that you guys have in fixed signs. Saturn was restricting those planets a lot. In the last 3 years, you could feel some sort of pressure. this feeling, inner feeling of you having to master certain things, learn something new, also overcome some obstacles and being tested. So this energy is now leaving fixed signs. So I think that's a nice information for you guys, because now you can rest a little bit. Yes, Pluto is entering also same sign, so fixed signs now in the next 20 years will feel the Pluto energy. But don't worry, this is a very slow moving energy, so it's going to be a little bit different situation, especially you guys who have like later degrees of fixed signs. You will not feel Pluto energy for many years, so don't worry. But coming back to what is happening now with Pisces energy. So Saturn entering Pisces will also affect very strongly in a tense way of squares and oppositions, mutable signs. Pisces is mutable, and other mutable signs, which is Virgo, the opposition of Pisces, will have opposition of Saturn for the next 3 years, and Gemini, Sagittarius, another two mutable signs, they will have square from Saturn in Pisces. So that means that you guys will have the strongest tension going on around Saturn energy. It's gonna feel like you really have to put the effort now. There is no escape. You really need to get serious and responsible about certain matters, especially about your Pisces house in your chart. And Pisces, guys, of course, your placements in Pisces will feel the most this influence of Saturn, which is very much, you know, putting a sort of pressure to do more, to hard work, to effort, to be mature, responsible, serious. There is no fun with Saturn. There is no, you know, escaping from your responsibilities, escaping from rules. This is something that we just need to face, and that's my recommendation, just to really try to work with this energy without escaping those responsibilities, because this is also our great chance to master our Pisces energy. Saturn helps us to get higher, to reach higher level of maturity, of knowledge, of anything you want, whatever this Pisces house represents in your chart. This area of your life has now the chance to just reach some better place, energetically speaking, more experience as well, right? More maturity. So all the good stuff that later on can also help us with other karmic lessons, with other tests. So the more you work with Saturn now in the next 3 years with your Pisces energy, the better for you. I talk also from my own experience, because I am very Saturnian. Maybe I don't look like in the first view. I'm Libra rising. Jupiter is my most dominant planet. So maybe I come across as more like, you know, easygoing and optimistic. But Saturn is my second dominant planet. Saturn is squaring, opposing, conjuncting all of my planets in my chart. Only my Venus and Pluto, they have like a harmonious sextile from Saturn, but the rest of my planets, they get a strong push to work hard, to be responsible, to follow rules, to overcome obstacles, to be very disciplined, motivated to work hard, and being like very consistent as well. So I understand this energy very much, because this is who I am as well. This is a huge part of me, and I can tell you that I am a big fan of Saturn. Even though, yes, my life was very difficult since the beginning. I had to overcome so many things in life, difficult ones, but I feel like I also, thanks to that, I could reach some higher level of my own potential, thanks to Saturn. Without Saturn, for sure, I would not be where I am, mentally speaking, emotionally speaking. Saturn pushes you to master yourself all the time. It's like this is your lifestyle, basically, and this self-discipline and working hard on yourself, trying to reach a higher potential of your talents as well. So I would really try, guys, to first of all change a little bit your perspective about Saturn, without approaching this energy with such fear and feeling like universe is sending you Saturn to do something bad to you. It's not like that. Saturn is just a symbol, but it's more about what is going on in you inside, and also what is happening in your inner world is after that expressed in your reality. Saturn in Pisces can be actually very helpful because Pisces is such a contrast to Saturn. So maybe this Saturn entering your Pisces house can truly help to deal with the shadow side of Pisces as well, that all of us might experience. So if you wanna know on a personal level where this energy can show up for you in your life, I would suggest to have a look at your natal chart and see where is Pisces energy in your chart. Because from March till February 2026, Saturn will be there bringing some sort of tests. This will be some sort of like checking your level of maturity, adulthood, your responsibility and seriousness. And then you need to see in which house or houses, because it can be spread in 2 or 3 houses in your chart. See where this Pisces energy lands and what this house represents. If it's more about relationships or family or health or work or yourself, individuality, and your possessions. It can be really so much. Also, you can see if you have any planets in Pisces, because then you're gonna be even more affected than for those of you who have just an empty Pisces house. And then study a little bit what this house means. This is also, you see, like I'm often trying to just give you tips how you can learn about your chart yourself. This is a very Saturnian energy coming from me. I want you guys to master astrology yourself. That's why I don't tend to give so much, like ready answers when you are asking me some questions on my social media, for example, in comments and stuff. I want people to also master the art of searching for information, learning new skills, being more adults, right? Because we all have access to internet, and it's all about Googling things, finding articles, finding texts. There's like so much to learn just by using Google, using your phone or your computer. And that's Saturn. First I learned that from Saturn, to be like that, to be, more independent and knowing how to deal with certain things by myself. Yes, like Saturn also brings a bit of, loneliness, you having to deal with certain things yourself without any help. So then you really, truly learn. And that's why I'm also trying to do this for you guys, so you can, have access by yourself to certain things in astrology. So that's my advice. Find this house and Google this house, read articles about the meaning of the house, and try to connect this also to your life situation, because 5th house is the house of children, but not everybody has a children. So then we can go deeper. It's about maybe your inner child, maybe you having fun, maybe you using your passions, your talents in your work or in general in your life, your connection to this side of your life, maybe getting more serious about your passions, maybe becoming freelancer based on your passions. So then this topic of Saturn will have nothing to do with you becoming a parent or your parenting style or you having some maybe issues with your children in order for you to, master your parenthood style. So a lot of things we can talk about. That's why I really recommend you guys to have some self-reflection about your story and connect the dots. And then once you know your Pisces energy, then it's also good to know about the shadow side of Pisces, because Saturn will focus mostly on that. Saturn will come and make some sort of evaluation of you using Pisces energy in your life. And Pisces in the shadow side is, for example, escapism. Running away from reality. Wherever there is a problem, we need to face certain truths about life and find some solutions, practical solutions for them. Pisces tend to escape into imagination, into your own inner fantasy world where you can rest, relax, and forget about the reality. We can escape through addictions. Pisces also rules that. So we have alcohol, drugs, some sort of medical things that can be used to change your state of consciousness. Gaming, very Pisces thing as well. Pisces rules movies, gaming, filming industry, entertainment industry. All that is helping us to separate our mind from reality and kind of live in another dimension. So definitely movies and gaming, this works in that way for us, right? We feel like we are living in another reality. We forget about our problems. And of course, it's not like you can do it. We all need to relax, have a glass of wine, see a movie, listen to the music and escape into our fantasy world. Just simply also have some beauty in our life. This is the source of our magic that we can feel. Especially for me, I truly love, I'm a 12th house stellium. I love to escape from reality through music, where I can just, be in my own imagination and see the world in a more beautiful way. But at the same time, with Saturn, we have to go back. We need to have 1 foot on the ground. We cannot just be in the clouds, fantasizing and not dealing with our issues, right? So Saturn will for sure want us to do that. So if you have tendencies to do what I just mentioned, especially if you connect this to your area of Pisces in your chart, if it's 4th house, then maybe there are some family issues, maybe some toxic family members that you don't know how to set boundaries with. Maybe you still not being healed from your childhood trauma, from what you experienced as a kid, from your roots, maybe ancestor trauma, this generational trauma is still not healed in you. So Saturn will come and will make something in your life in order for you to see that, okay, I have this issue, I need to do something about it. And the way how Saturn likes to push us, motivate us to finally do something about this issue is to increase problems around this matter. So if there's some trauma, for example, in your 4th house, or some family problems, that they might increase to the point that you will be not able to escape from it anymore. You will have to face the fact that, okay, I need to do something about it. And this is very, very needed, because once Saturn pushes you to finally do something about your problem, they have the potential to disappear from your life because you finally work on them in a very self-disciplined way. Saturn is also great energy for therapy, actually, especially if you have Saturn in your, the transit of Saturn in Pisces in your 4th, 8th, 12th house, also 6th house. Those houses especially are, it's very recommendable to reflect if there is not a need for you to treat your mental health in a more serious way. Go for some sort of therapy or some spiritual practices, something that is like, routine oriented, organized, some sort of system that you have, that for example every Tuesday you have a meeting with your therapist or with, who knows, tarot reader, astrologer, some sort of healer, or maybe you doing your own spiritual or healing practices. It would be good to have some sort of organized plan for that, so you don't skip it. You have certain dates when you need to show up and deal with certain matters in your life. And you know, Saturn will definitely like that, you know, some sort of structure that you can show to yourself and to the Saturn energy, that look, I am organized, I am systematic, I really put my effort into that. This will be definitely rewarded, especially once Saturn ends this transit in 2026. Then after a while you might see some sort of fruits out of this garden that you started to grow now with this transit in March. You will have some rewards from Saturn for sure, karmic rewards, whenever you put effort, because Saturn is the Lord of Karma. It brings consequences of our actions. So if those actions were correct, positive, legal as well, you know, Saturn is about rules, following law, not ignoring some sort of rules and trying to be strict about them. You know, if you have some deadlines, for example, or some special tasks that you have to do, if you don't skip them, if you really work hard, Saturn will reward you. So, you know, it's like with karma, you get what you give, basically. So we do have a lot of free will and a lot of potential to change our situation and to kind of like control to a certain point how this Saturn in Pisces transit will work in our life. It all depends on how we approach that. If we approach it with fear, feeling like a victim of Saturn, which is also worth to mention that actually victimhood is another shadow side of Pisces. Us feeling that, you know, bad things are all the time happening to us. We are so good and we treat people so well, but still life is just so cruel to us. It's like obstacles all the time and stuff. Or maybe we are still in this victim mode, out of our trauma of what happened in the past. We, instead of dealing with this trauma, we just get comfortable in the position of being a victim. We can even build the whole personality of us around being a victim of certain events in the past, and that's it. This is our story and we don't want to transform it. So Saturn in Pisces, again, which, you know, Pisces rules emotions, this victimhood mode, spiritual bypassing, us feeling very passive in life, not taking actions, just, you know, feeling like things are just happening to us. We are not creating our story, but this story is just happening to us. This is a shadow side of Pisces when we end up in this position, because this takes our power away from us. We feel like we are just, you know, being here alive and life throws at us things, and that's it, right? Remember that we do have to a certain point free will. We can decide about our reaction to transit, about how we approach certain transit, how we treat, for example, Saturn. If we treat Saturn as a greatest teacher in astrology, that is here to help us to be more self-disciplined, to mature our energy, to master our skills, to achieve something higher. If we treat Saturn like that, then we cannot wait till Saturn comes and help us to you know, build a new foundation in the new sign of Pisces in this matter. But if we feel like, oh my God, Saturn, it's so scary, my life will suck now for the next 3 years because I have Sun in Pisces or Moon in Virgo, right? If we approach this transit in that way, then, you know, you create your reality with your thoughts. So that's how it's gonna be. You will feel like there's just all the time something bad going on in your life and you have no power over it and you cannot change that, and that's it, right? I try to treat Saturn as a chance, as an opportunity for me to master a new area of my life. And yes, of course, to a certain point I also feel some negative sides of Saturn. It can be depressive, it can feel lonely because you have so much in your head, responsibilities, you know, all the list full of tasks. Or maybe you need to face consequences of your previous actions, of how you used to be in the past, maybe, you know, avoiding facing some issues, right? So yes, then we need to pay consequences for that. But it's all in our highest good, because once we face it, we can decide to change the story. We can change, transform our emotions, our belief system, our situation around us. So great chance for all of us to really improve our Pisces energy. So let's go back to what Pisces represents and try to apply this potential to heal and master this energy. So as I mentioned, escaping from reality, right? So if any of you have some sort of addictions, if you spend too many hours gaming or, you know, watching Netflix all day long instead of dealing with some things in your life, if you are, you know, drinking too much on a daily basis, then Saturn can, for example, this is just one of ideas, it doesn't have to be like this, but you can, for example, start to have some health issues out of gaming, out of drinking too much, maybe some problems with stomach, maybe headaches out of gaming. Same situation with some sort of drugs. It can be increase of issues, of consequences of this lifestyle. You can lose people in your life out of addictions, right? People not wanting to deal with you anymore because you are all the time, I don't know, drunk, or, you know, you have some toxin in you and you are not yourself, or you are like so involved in this another dimension that it's like impossible to have a normal conversation with you anymore. Like you don't want to meet people anymore, so you lose friends, right? This is a possible consequence of addictions. Or you just, you know, having some sort of distraction in your life out of how you treat yourself and your health. Another thing, Pisces rules mental health as we talk about health. So if any of you didn't want to deal with your, you know, shadow side, inner child that is still hurt, not healed, and needs some sort of attention, maybe some sort of therapy, healing, this also can increase now, this problem, this the consequence of you not having this healed yet. That's why I would really start to be very serious about my mental health. If there is something still bothering me in the past, that would be actually a good moment to really face the truth and not running away from that anymore, not living in alternative dimension. Another thing that I noticed, spiritual bypassing. Pisces rules spirituality, and from 2011 we have Neptune in Pisces. So we can all see that the energy of Pisces increased a lot in the world because Neptune has no boundaries. Neptune is like a green light. It allows anything to happen. There's no boundary. It's like a total contrast to Saturn. Saturn is restricting, regulating, making limitations, rules, telling you what you have to do, right? It's like a boss or this strict teacher at school. And the Neptune, fog, ocean, you can think about water in the ocean, just, you know, floating there, no boundaries, very wild, very open to receive and to give. So this energy is now in Pisces. Neptune rules Pisces, so it's even higher. And that's why I mentioned this topic about spirituality and addictions, because both things were increased since 2011. If you think about, look at the astrology situation, for example, pop astrology. Astrology is now like a mainstream. So many people know not only about sun sign, but about the whole horoscope, about houses, planets, and moon phases. The amount of people publishing something about astrology in the internet is so huge now. So it became popular, and Neptune is in Pisces since 2011, and I do blame, not blame, I'm happy for that astrology become more popular, but also spirituality, spiritual practices, tarot, oracle cards, healing, all sort of healing your trauma, different practices. This became very popular thanks to Neptune in Pisces. So that's a good side of this Neptune, but the bad side is that Neptune also increased addictions from the same year, because people started to really be like into escaping from reality, which I'm not surprised, because I think like right now how the reality looked like, it's like so no human friendly, especially those people working in corporations for 12 or more hours per day, not having a normal life, being very busy, materialistic, and especially life in big cities. This is like so, it's not natural, so how we can feel healthy if we live in such reality? So it's, for me, very natural that people have so many problems with mental health. They escape from this world. They don't want to see the reality of this world. They want to live in some sort of illusion. So they escape into drinking, into gaming, into watching movies, into listening to the music and being in your own fantasy world. Also into spirituality, right? Spirituality can be also used as an escapism method. So be aware of that spirituality is a daily practice. It's supposed to be a healing method. It's supposed to be something elevating your energy, your vibration, making you a better person, making you more aware of also your shadow side, of being able to, face the truth in the mirror that, okay, I'm still not healed out of this, and this is what I'm doing out of this energy. And I want to heal that. I want to stay like this, right? So, spirituality also requires a lot of practical things, which Saturn talks about. So, this can be also some sort of confrontation of our level of spirituality. If we use it truly to become a better person, to heal our shadow, to transform our energy, our hurt into something more beautiful, or we are using spirituality as another comfort zone when we just go there and universe is making everything for us and we are just sitting here and waiting for results. This doesn't work like that. We need to take action as well. Also, spirituality is not only about you working on your mental energy, but also working hard on the whole holistic thing of who you are. So that includes also body. So if you are from one side into tarot and astrology, spirituality, if you're reading books about self-development, but at the same time you are running away from your fears, from the source of your maybe paranoia, obsession, self-sabotage, you self-sabotaging relationship with other people, or you treating your body in a not compassionate way. For example, having addictions, dealing with emotions not in a proper healthy way, by confronting them, by processing them, by understanding them. But you are, for example, into addictions like food addiction, compulsive eating, right? Or It can be anything. It can be anything that is compulsive, that you just keep doing whatever you feel bad, and it's not healthy for you. You know, drinking, instead of feeling what you start to feel bad, somebody or something triggered you, and you, instead of dealing with that, sitting with yourself and truly facing your story, or working with therapist about that, you know, bottle of wine, Netflix, and you know, the problem is gone till you become sober. That's why Saturn in Pisces is a great time for us all to get rid of addictions, because we're gonna have more self-discipline, we will be more responsible, we will be more into following certain rules and its limitation, right? Saturn will restrict now those Pisces energies in us. So great opportunity next 3 years to really get rid of everything that is poisoning your soul, your body, and it's not helping you at all with, you know, facing the truth. So remember that this can be a harsh transit, because we are so used to have Neptune in Pisces since 2011. This Neptune that let us do whatever we want. It's even inviting us to live in this illusion, to escape into another dimension, to live in the clouds, see the world through pink-colored glasses in a very idealistic way. We are used to that in this house, in this area of our life where there is Pisces in our chart. We became kind of like addicted to this Neptunian idealistic energy, and now Saturn enters there, and enough of this. We have to get ready that this can feel a bit shocking for some of you. There might be some sudden situation that will really like open your eye. And you know, Saturn can also come into your life as a person. Maybe you're gonna meet somebody who is very serious, wise, who has a lot of knowledge and experience about life. It doesn't have to be by age, but just by how many things and experience this person went through. And now you have this wake-up call from this person. Somebody talks with you in a very serious way, and you just get the message, and you are like, okay, I need to do something about this. This can't stay like this. You suddenly feel like, okay, I was doing that. I admit this to myself. I was drinking too much. I was poisoning my body. I was self-sabotaging my relationships. I was running away from therapy because I'm scared to face the truth about my trauma, about my fears, about my blockages. I prefer to be in this idealistic vision of myself and also about other people, because remember, this energy is also for some of you happening in your 11th house of friendships, 7th house of relationships, 5th house of dating and love. So those of you who have energy there, you might have those tendencies of idealizing people that you meet, and then you get harsh karmic consequences of trusting people who do not deserve this trust. So those of you who have Pisces connected to you, creating relationships, you might have some sort of, you know, eye-opening energies in that for you. That you can see that, for example, you don't see the truth about people, but you see the potential, and you trust this potential more than what the reality is showing you. Maybe problems with setting boundaries with people. You, instead of, you know, having some sort of also rules, self-care boundaries with people, not letting people crossing those boundaries, and the ability to say no as well to people, also in family, right? And this is hard, especially for Pisces energy. This is hard because this is a very compassionate energy. It wants to help everybody. It feels uncomfortable for Pisces to say no, but with Saturn in Pisces, I feel like this is a gift for Pisces folks to really learn about saying no, the importance of having boundaries, the importance of having some sort of limitation in how much you help other people, because you cannot only give and give and give in your life. and not filling your own cup first, not having time for rest, not having time for your own self-care, because you just gonna lose your own energy. And then once you are like low energetically speaking, you cannot serve this world in the best way, right? So it's also about this kind of regulation of you, how much you give into this world, and where is the limit, and where you should learn to say no as well. So a lot of things can happen. Again, if any of you guys, you would like to know on an individual level how this Saturn will work for you, then you are always welcome for a session with me. We can see Saturn and other transits going on in your chart, what this can mean for you, how you can prepare, what this can bring karmically for you, so you know it in advance and you can start preparing. So of course I invite you all, especially if it's a Saturn return case, if your Saturn is in Pisces, then this is a very important transit in your life. This is when you really truly mature in your life for the first time. So again, very good to use astrology in order to understand what will happen in your life, and I can help you with that absolutely. I am after my own Saturn return already, and as I mentioned, Saturn touches any single planet in my chart. So we are good friends, me and Saturn. So I hope I can also share all that I went through with you and help you to approach this energy from another level, from a higher understanding of what Saturn is all about. So you will not have this fearful position when meeting Saturn, but you will be like open to receive the gift of lesson and new experience and mastery. So welcome. If anybody would like to have this reading or any other reading, just click to the link in the description box and jump into my website. And you can also see other videos of mine. I made a video about this year, 2023, all the most important transit. Also, I make like a monthly forecast of astrology, so you can have a look if you haven't seen, for example, February. And meanwhile, let's go back to Saturn in Pisces. So as I mentioned, all the shadow side of Pisces can go now through some sort of test. And remember, it's not Saturn who is making you feel bad. It's you and your own actions, your own decisions that you took in the past. And now you will face the karma, the consequences of that. And that's a good information, because you can change how you behave. And you can turn your life upside down. You can start to do things in another way. It doesn't have to be like it was till now. You don't need to cope with your emotions in such unhealthy way. It can be done in a proper, highly spiritual, healing way. So coming back to what I wanted to say about this Neptune in Pisces, Neptune will also conjunct Saturn. So it's not only that we will have now both Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, but to a certain point they will start to be closer and closer together. 2025, 2026, that's the time when we're gonna feel the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune, which will be a little bit similar to Saturn being in Pisces, because again, Neptune rules Pisces and Saturn first enters Pisces and then also conjoin the ruler of Pisces. So very, very interesting energy. I was actually born under Neptune Saturn energy. That's my natal chart conjunction. I have those two guys very close to each other, almost perfect conjunction. That's why maybe I am this sort of grounded spirituality kind of astrologer. I always try to keep 1 foot on the ground and 1 foot in this metaphysical realm, but I try not to, jump into any extreme. I like to balance in between those two worlds, and also Saturn in Pisces will be about that. about having this grounded approach to spirituality, not only, you know, reading all those books, watching those Instagram posts, you know, manifesting in the way that you are only dreaming about something and you think like that's all. You need to take action. You need to be a dreamer and a doer. Manifestation works when you take action upon your vision. So first you prepare your energy, you visualize what you want to achieve in your life, but after you also take action. I know, you write the letter, you send email, make a phone call, buy a ticket, move to another place, take this course, you know, I don't know, book a reading even if you want with me. If that's what you feel like this is something that you need for your spiritual increase of your energy. So many things can be here discussed, but it's all about being in balance between practicality and metaphysical realm. We cannot stay just in the metaphysical anymore and you know, dreaming and stuff. And that's why Saturn will definitely come and clean this Pisces energy a lot, and that's a preparation for this conjunction of Saturn and Neptune, which will feel even stronger, like the meeting of, you know, the Lord of boundaries and systems with no boundaries at all. Neptune, Saturn and Neptune, when they meet together, this is like a also very interesting conjunction, because it tends to be, unfortunately, I don't want to scare anybody, but again, I am a Saturnian person. I want to say the truth. I want people to know what might happen so we can get ready and prepared. So you can also see like how I approach astrology and how I talk about transits. This is also kind of like Saturn in Pisces, Saturn conjunct Neptune energy, because I have this conjunction in my third house. This is my mind, basically. Also Uranus is there. So Saturn, Neptune, this is how my mind also operates. Like I have those two worlds combined together. I try to find balance. And I see that there is some big shift going on here right now with Saturn and Neptune, because in 2026 there will be a meeting of them in Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, starting new cycle at 0 degree. That's a very powerful new beginning. 2026, remember this date. That's huge. That's really something that we haven't seen in a long time. Maybe some new system emerging, something completely new, like new order in the world. But also what I wanted to say that I mentioned, I don't want to scare you, but let's talk about the truth. So truth is that this tends to be a huge pandemic. In astrology, when we go back to historical events, Saturn and Neptune together, this is really like a plague. This is not what we saw in 2020. This is something way much bigger, like really like a total plague, disease, pandemic, to the level that really like a lot of people is gone. So let's be aware of that. You know, when you listen to what big people of this world, I don't want to maybe mention names, but you know, World Economic Forum, this is something to Google for everybody who wants to know what is truly going on in this world. So if we think about those people, they say themselves about pandemics coming, new pandemic. And there are some trainings going on for some sort of, you know, like fake scenario of the next pandemic. They are preparing, let's call it solutions. So I kind of like expect that there is a high possibility. It's not a fact. Remember, like anything I am saying right now, it doesn't have to happen. It's just a possibility, a potential. But nobody knows the truth, how this will truly manifests in the world. It all depends also on us, on humanity, and on our leaders, what they're gonna do. But pandemic is in the air. That's why my tip is to really truly take care of your health, of your immune system, especially because we will also pay karmic consequences for all that happened since 2020, when Saturn was in Aquarius, and when we lost our freedom, but also we experienced this pandemic going on. And the solution for this pandemic, those substances that were, many people were not really even deciding about taking them, but they were kind of like forced to do certain experiment on themselves, because if not, they will not be able to continue being in society, right? We know how it was. So those substances, if you observe how this is now showing up, consequences of those products, they look quite scary. And also with Pluto in Aquarius, where Pluto rules death and Aquarius is humanity, so this altogether looks like a depopulation, unfortunately. So there might be also some sort of karmic consequence for decisions that happen since 2020 about your health. And also my suggestion is to truly increase your immune system level as much as you can in the most natural way as you can, by herbs, eating certain products that work as a natural antibiotic, like for example garlic. It's very healthy. Onion, garlic, fermented cabbage, perfect thing as well. Being in nature, being outside, outdoors, receiving this healing energy from nature, having a proper self-care routine, especially if you have Pisces 6th house. If Saturn enters 6th house for you, then health is on a very high focus for you for the next 3 years. You're gonna be pushed to take a proper care of that side of your life, of your body, of what you eat, how your daily routine looks like, how much you drink. Pisces rules immune system, and Saturn brings consequences. So it's like a clear story for me that those of us who were not so serious about our medical situation, now we're gonna have some more seriousness around that matter. If you have Saturn in your 6th house, I will go to all the doctors that I supposed to go long time ago. Right now, check my blood, check my, all those things that bring some sort of issues in my life. And also Pisces rules liquids, lymph. So with Saturn being here, there might be a struggle with, for example, water retention, problems with detox of the body, because all the toxin from our body goes out through liquids, right? When we are sweating and when we go to the toilet, through the pores of the skin. And when we drink, then this process is a bit more easier to do. So it's recommendable to have a proper hydration for not only for the 3 years that are coming, always, but I'm talking to people who maybe were not so focused on that, on drinking enough water or some herbal infusion. That's my tip, to really start to be serious about that, because Saturn makes some sort of limitation, blockages, restricts. Think about our freedom. What happened to our freedom since 2020 when Saturn was in Aquarius? Now the same situation of regulation, restriction, not being able to use this freedom. Now instead of freedom, we're gonna have, for example, this detox kind of energy, removing poison from our body. That's why also maybe those of you who put already too much poison into your body through addictions or through bad bad diet, for example, bad nutrition, you're gonna have some consequences for that in your body, and you will feel more motivated to change that, because you're gonna have, pain, problems with daily life, right? Some problems with your skin, with your hair, whatever. Body always shows through some messages, physical messages, what is going on. Some symptoms might show up. So I would start now with truly like being serious about detoxing my body, of eating in a way that this doesn't work like a poison to my body, but it's helping this body to be more pure and clean. Also Saturn in Pisces here. What I can say, yeah, one thing, you know, Saturn is cold, harsh and cold energy. So also those drinks that we are drinking in order to help our body to purify, I would suggest them to be warm, because this also can show up, you know, like cold feet, feeling colder in general. Our body might have like not so much warm energy anymore with Saturn being here in Pisces, you know. So drink a lot, and may it be warm water with lemon, or herbal infusions, natural things. We have still nodes in Taurus, so we're supposed to go back to nature. This is our karmic guidance as well. So I feel like this is some sort of preparation of what is coming. I don't know if it's gonna be pandemic or some other event that might transform our world. Maybe a new system, as I mentioned, new world order will emerge in 2026, when we're gonna have, I have the date here, February 26, 2026, when Saturn and Neptune meet in Aries at 0 degree. You know, Aries, I'm always a bit, you know, we need to be concerned that Aries is also very military. This is the sign of aggression, of fight, of war. So let's hope this will be used in a positive way. Let's hope that this date will be focused on optimistic energy of Aries, which is about starting fresh, new beginning, spring blooming after a long cold winter. So let's hope that this energy will go in that direction, but I cannot promise what will exactly happen. It's all about humanity reacting to this transit. The energy is here, but people who decide about what is going on in this world, they have the power to truly use this transit. And all we can do is, you know, say no to certain things as well, not support certain decisions. So yeah, that's how it is. We are now in the process of heading towards this conjunction, and that's why immune system, this is our focus now. Try to improve it as much as we can. I also feel like there's going to be a lot of karmic consequences to big pharma, to medical staff, to hospitals, because Virgo Pisces axis, this is the energy of hospitals, of nurses, of doctors, of pharmacology, of medicine, of drugs. So there might be some karma for that, for those who didn't use the energy with good intention towards humanity, but they use it for something else. So especially big pharma, I hope that they will pay karmically. There might be, you know, some court cases, for example, you know, evaluation of all this pharmacology business as well, of what they have done till now, if that was correct or if that was maybe some sort of corruption, something, some sort of lie and deception, because Neptune and Pisces, they also rule lies and deception. We don't see the reality of things. We think like the reality is something different because someone lied to us about that. So if you put this situation to pharmacology, to medicine, to hospitals, to disease, to pandemic as well. So this energy now will be under Saturnian evaluation. And as I mentioned, you get what you give. So whatever happens now, it's gonna be for sure with Saturn based on justice, because Saturn brings some sort of reward or punishment. I mean, I don't like the word punishment. That's again consequence of what we did. We have free will and we decide what we do, and then life gives us consequences out of that, right? So this energy will be for sure showing up in this medical area of life. It can be also, as I mentioned, Saturn restricts, limitation, less. So it might be not enough staff, for example, to deal with diseases, maybe hospitals, not enough places for people that being sick. Also, Neptune is illusion, not knowing what is going on. So there might be, for example, a situation in the medical world when it will be not possible to really exactly know what is going on, what kind of sickness is that, like no possibility to make the proper diagnosis, right? Like maybe some secretive, unknown, new sickness, disease that it's still not explored by humanity, and there will be like surprise what to do with this now. And another thing, Neptune and Pisces, they rule, talking about what we can expect in the world globally now. So it rules religion, Christianity. We might experience some sort of crisis in this matter. Maybe some religion will be gone, or there will be again similar like with what I mentioned about pharmacology, with medicine. It can be this evaluation as well of the church, of people being a part of the church, what they truly do. There might be some revelation, some exposure of lies, deception, and what else? Pisces. I need to stop and think because I went so far in my mind in this energy. Maybe I'm gonna see, but again, this fog, right? So I believe that we're gonna also have some sort of clarity, more clarity about things, because Saturn is very harsh. It shows you how it is, and we might all lived in some sort of illusion for the last almost 11, 12 years, 13 almost 13 years since 2011. So we might now live all in a one big mental fog of what is truly going on in the world. And it can be some sort of awakening for us. We're gonna see now clearly the truth behind the mask and the truth behind our idealistic illusion, the truth that we couldn't see before because we believed the lie. We believed some sort of deception and manipulation, especially from media. So now we also might pay some sort of consequences for that. Another thing about Saturn is that it can help us to create boundaries. I mentioned a bit about that before, with family, with people, right? So that's again a gift for Pisces people. I'm not a Pisces, but everybody has Pisces in the chart. So I say we might now have it more easier to really put some sort of routine, structure, and plan into our area of Pisces in our chart. So that's a good energy. Pisces definitely needs this meeting with Saturn, because I feel like this energy can feel so lost and so confused sometimes, not knowing what to do, not knowing who you are, not knowing how to be more maybe systematic and disciplined, because with Pisces this is like a huge ocean, dreamy pink ocean. And so Saturn here, with this reality check, with this hard work, and with this pressure to getting things done now, it can really help us. It's more grounded, more logical. So that's a good combo. It gives some sort of balance as well, in my opinion. Even though it might feel in the beginning harsh, but once we get used to this energy, I think we can also improve a lot our spirituality, our religion, our medical system. Those things now will be under this pressure to become more polished, like a diamond, like Saturn likes to turn us into diamond, right? And also manifestation, as I mentioned, I think that some people think that manifestation is all about just, you know, visualizing what you want and that's it. It doesn't work like that. It's like, really, we need to also get out there into this world and put those dreams into reality, become more responsible for how our life looks like, become like a captain of our ship. And talking about the ship, there's a nice analogy if you think about this meeting of Saturn with Pisces. Pisces is like this ship lost in the wild ocean, very, you know, if you think about the storm and fog and those waves around the ship doesn't see where it's supposed to go. It's dark and it's cloudy, and then suddenly there is this light right in the port showing to the ship where to go. And for me, Saturn energy is like this safe port for the ship of Pisces, that finally there is some structure, finally there is some possibility to see things clearer, to see some light, to see through illusions, to not being a victim of your story, to also be responsible for your story, for your trauma, face your true shadow side and work on that. Again, not just by, I don't know, reading a book and that's it, but about, for example, attending to some sort of spiritual meetings, therapeutical meetings, doing your own self-therapy, practical tasks that can help you to become more healed and better, right? So it's about that. And the same energy is with health, with everything, mental health. Unfortunately, I think like we're gonna pay also some sort of consequences for those lockdowns, for Saturn being in Aquarius, restricting our freedom, closing people in their houses, people losing jobs, all this shake-up of the system that happened since 2020. So I feel like also mental health will have some sort of issues, more issues than before. With this energy, Saturn will just come and show things as they are. So there might be more people in need for therapy, and maybe again this will show up as not enough people, healers, that are able to help those people, or maybe other restrictions. And also governments, you know, Saturn is system, government, authorities, they also might become more serious about mental health issues, maybe some regulations, maybe, you know, just, I don't know what they will do exactly, but something to really start facing this problem and being serious about that, and really implementing some sort of real, grounded, practical action in order to help people with mental health. Pisces also, refugees and people that are, you know, like, you can think about the energy of being like miserable, for example, homeless, unemployed, poor, sick, people who are not capable to fully, you know, take care of themselves, that they need some support, that they are weaker. So also Pisces ruling that Saturn entering here, it can bring more regulations in order, maybe, hopefully, to help such people. Maybe some new system showing up, some help system for such people as well. And crisis, it can bring, you know, Saturn brings some sort of crisis as well, some issues, some problems, some obstacles to resolve. So we might have more problems in those matters as well in the world. And also, as Saturn restricts, if you think about refugees, you know, like when Neptune was and still is in Pisces since 2011, there was like so much migration going on in the world. Borders were open and people were moving a lot. If you think about Jupiter in Pisces, again, Pisces rules refugees, right? Immigrants, especially overseas. So there was a lot going on in this matter in the last decade. And also last year we had Jupiter in Pisces, which happened during this time of war in Ukraine. So also a huge flood of people and Jupiter expands. So we can see that the energy of Pisces, of those refugees moving, migrating to other countries, was huge, open, no boundaries. Everybody was like open not everybody, but many countries were open to receive new people from other countries coming. And now with Saturn, this can have the opposite effect. Saturn will restrict that. There might be some boundary, there might be some regulation, limitation, borders might be closed again. This free movement of immigrants can be now lower, restricted. Same like Saturn in Aquarius restricted our freedom, our free speech, our free thinking. It was not allowed to have your own opinion about what was going on in 2020. Whoever would suggest some other vision, idea would be like, almost removed from society, right? So this energy now will be in the Pisces element, right? This restriction and this censorship as well. I also feel like there might be more regulation about drugs, about medicine in general. Maybe it will be, hopefully, it will be not so easy anymore to just, make a new product and just approve it to be sold to other countries globally, like it happened in 2021. You know what I'm talking about, right? With those. So I believe that Saturn might restrict that now it will be a need to really check the product before it's going to be approved, see consequences of taking such product, and not like it happened in the last few years when there was a new product that was just available for, and people were even like under pressure to take it. Again, Aquarius freedom, Saturn restricted that freedom for many, and this free will of deciding about your health. So now again, Saturn is entering the area of our freedom and health and mental health and addictions, our spirituality, our religion, all that is connected to this Pisces vibration. So let's see what will gonna happen, but for me it's mostly about making the unreal real. If you have any dream, if you have something that you would like to manifest, now you are asked by Saturn from March 7th till February 2026 to really make serious action, take serious action about those dreams, do something, take action, go back to the ground with those dreams that you have and do something about it. If you notice that you are escaping too much into another reality and you don't want to deal with what is here and now, I would suggest you to practice doing the opposite now before Saturn will get mad at you. Because remember, Saturn just comes and brings you karma. So if you want to receive good karma, then it would be good to also do correct things, right? Not having this exaggeration that you are only living in the clouds. Same with relationships, self-sabotaging your relationships, for example. If you notice some patterns that are unhealthy, then it would be good to start working on them instead of, escaping into illusions about people. I also wanted to mention about this twin flame kind of thing. Twin flame, soulmate thing. And this is also connected to this energy, because I think like some people, instead of accepting that, for example, a guy is just an asshole that ghosted you and doesn't want to be with you and maybe even used you for something and left you after that. Unfortunately, people like that are on this earth. And not everybody is highly spiritual. Not everybody sees people on the soul level with compassion. Some people, unfortunately, are not like that. And for especially very sensitive spiritual girls, I think like this might be so hard to accept that they prefer to believe in this twin flame story, because twin flame is a perfect self-sabotage, and again this escapism of Pisces into some sort of illusion, that instead of seeing the truth and accepting that, okay, that was just a mistake, you know, I didn't see the person as this person truly is, but let's move on. Instead of that, certain people, especially women, they get stuck energetically in the kind of connection relationship that it's already gone, believing that this is the twin flame story. So in twin flame, people meet, there's intense meeting, and then there's the separation, and they're supposed to work on themselves in a separate ways before they can meet again, something like that, right? So unfortunately, this is a perfect story to really live in some sort of dreamland, instead of facing a very painful situation of breakup. And I would also like you guys to self-reflect on your own story and your own tendencies if you are not having such a self-sabotaging energies in you, that instead of seeing the truth about people, you prefer to see something that is probably an illusion and lie and deception. And you are kind of like lying to yourself in order to run away from reality, right? So again, I'm not judging anybody. I don't know also how this world exactly works. I'm very, I'm agnostic. I don't say how things are and how they will be. The whole video of this is just, me throwing a lot of ideas about what might happen. But this is based on astrology, on symbols, on knowledge, also on my own experience in life. But I don't know exactly how this reality works. Maybe I also live in a one big illusion. Maybe Saturn will come now in Pisces and will also break even more illusions down for me, and I will discover that there is still so much more that I still not see in a proper realistic way. Who knows? But this is something to reflect about. The self-sabotaging energy. And remember that spirituality is not only about, thinking, seeing oracle cards, and that's it. It's about, we need to live our spirituality, like work also on our spirituality. It's a very systematic kind of process to make the self-development of your soul. And this has to be done with daily effort, with a lot of time. Saturn teaches us about patience and time, that things simply take time. We cannot get the result after one day of doing something. We need sometimes many years of repetitive actions, learning, studies, practice, and then we can reach a certain level. And this is also another thing, as Pisces rules spirituality, astrology, as I mentioned, we have this increase of those things in the mass mainstream with Neptune in Pisces. Saturn will now come and also have a look at all those people that showed up during this time as healers, spiritual teachers, astrologers, readers, all kind of, shamanic kind of people, alternative healers. There will be some sort of review and evaluation of certain people as well. And